What if a single document, signed in a grand European capital, could issue a chilling warning to the most powerful neutral nation on Earth and formally bind together the ambitions of three empires bent on reshaping the world? On the 27th of September, 1940, such a document came into existence. In Berlin, amidst the rising tide of global conflict, representatives from Germany, Italy, and Japan gathered to sign an agreement that would forever be known as the Tripartite Pact, or more simply, the Berlin Pact. With the signatures of Joachim von Ribbentrop for Germany, Galeazzo Ciano for Italy, and Saburo Kurusu for Japan, the Axis powers were formally and irrevocably united in a defensive military alliance whose true purpose was far more aggressive than its language suggested. Its primary target was not an active belligerent or a neighboring state, but a sleeping giant across the Atlantic, the United States of America. The pact was a masterstroke of geopolitical intimidation, aimed squarely at the officially neutral United States, a nation whose industrial might and vast resources were seen as the single greatest potential obstacle to Axis victory. The leaders in Berlin, Rome, and Tokyo harbored a shared hope that this formal declaration of unity would force American policymakers to think twice before intervening in the wars raging across Europe and Asia. The agreement was designed to present the United States with an unwinnable scenario. If it chose to enter the war on the side of the Allies, it would not be fighting a war on one front, but a catastrophic global conflict on two. An attack on any one of the signatories would be treated as an attack on all, a promise intended to paralyze American resolve and ensure its continued neutrality while the Axis powers consolidated their gains. At the heart of the Tripartite Pact was a shared ideology, a grandiose vision for a new order of things. The governments of Germany, Italy, and Japan declared it a fundamental precondition for any lasting peace that all nations of the world be given what they deemed its own proper place. This seemingly benign language masked a radical and expansionist agenda. The pact was, in essence, a formal agreement to carve up the world into spheres of influence. Japan, in its quest for regional dominance, explicitly recognized and respected the leadership of Germany and Italy in the establishment of their new order in Europe. In this grand bargain, Germany and Italy reciprocated, formally recognizing and respecting the leadership of Japan in its own parallel effort to establish a new order in Greater East Asia. This mutual acknowledgement served to legitimize their respective military campaigns and territorial ambitions, creating a framework where German conquests in Europe and Japanese expansion in Asia were seen not as separate opportunistic wars, but as two fronts of the same global revolution. The core mechanism of this alliance was its Mutual Defense Clause, a carefully worded provision that committed the signatories to assist one another with all political, economic, and military means in a very specific circumstance. This assistance was to be triggered if any one of them was attacked by a power at present not involved in the European War or in the Sino-Japanese conflict. The phrasing was deliberate and surgically precise. By specifying a power not currently involved in these conflicts, the pact notably and intentionally excluded the Soviet Union. At the time, Germany and the Soviet Union were still bound by a non-aggression pact, and the Soviet Union was already entangled in its own conflicts, making it exempt from this clause. This careful exclusion stripped away any ambiguity, leaving the United States as the only major power that fit the description. The warning could not have been clearer. Any act of aggression by America against Germany, Italy, or Japan would immediately trigger a unified military, political, and economic response from all three, plunging the United States into a war it was not yet prepared to fight. Following the establishment of this core Axis alliance, the pact began to expand as other nations, drawn by a mixture of coercion, opportunism, and ideological alignment, joined the new order. The Kingdom of Hungary was the first to accede, signing the pact on the 20th of September 1940. Just 3 days later, on the 23rd of November 1940, the Kingdom of Romania followed suit. The very next day, on the 24th of November 1940, the Slovak Republic also became a signatory. The expansion continued into the following year, with the Kingdom of Bulgaria formally joining the alliance on the 1st of March 1941. A few weeks later, on the 25th of March 1941, the Kingdom of Yugoslavia also signed the pact, a decision that would prove to be calamitously short-lived. Yugoslavia's accession to the Tripartite Pact ignited a firestorm of opposition within the country. The decision was deeply unpopular with the Serbian public and military establishment, who viewed it as a national betrayal. Just 2 days after their government signed the agreement in Vienna, a dramatic coup d'état erupted in Belgrade, overthrowing the pro-Axis regency and placing the young King Peter II on the throne. This act of defiance was an unforgivable affront to the Axis powers. In response, Germany, Italy, and Hungary launched a swift and brutal invasion of Yugoslavia, crushing its military and dismembering the nation. In the ashes of the conquered kingdom, an Italo-German client state was forged, known as the independent state of Croatia. This new puppet regime, eager to prove its loyalty to its creators, promptly joined the Tripartite Pact on the 15th of June 1941, demonstrating that adherence to the pact would be enforced by overwhelming military power. For over a year, the pact existed primarily as a strategic deterrent, a threat hanging over Washington. But in the final month of 1941, its ultimate purpose was finally invoked, leading to the very global conflict it was designed to prevent.
Following the devastating Japanese surprise attack on the American naval base at Pearl Harbor, the United States was thrust into war. On the 8th of December, it formally declared war on the Empire of Japan. The moment of truth for the Tripartite Pact had arrived. Honoring their solemn commitment, Germany and Italy stood by their Asian ally. 4 days after the United States declared war on Japan, both Germany and Italy officially declared war on the United States. In that single, fateful act, the regional wars in Europe and Asia merged into one indivisible global struggle. The pact, conceived to keep America out of the war, had become the very instrument that ensured its full and total entry into the European theater, ultimately sealing the fate of the Axis powers it was created to protect.
Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment with your thoughts or next video ideas.